Where were you?
I was going out to dinner as well, meeting my little brother.
All right. Where'd you guys end up?
We went to a burger place.
What'd you
down
have?
in Warren. Just a classic burger.
You had the burger.
I had the burger.
We're rolling, guys.
I had some paella negra.
Paella. I hear you only have paella on Thursdays, though. That's the thing.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a rule.
Someone told me that. Gotta have it on
Shit,
Thursdays.
man. All right, good to know.
All right, let's talk Jumanji. When a film has a cultural legacy like this, when people love a film like this, when people think back to Robin Williams and his role, do you hesitate at all in taking a role when you're taking on something that is incredibly nostalgic, but also trying to make it something new?
No, I didn't hesitate. I mean, it's the way of the industry now. They look for brand names that are powerful and that have a built-in audience and a built-in love, so that people know what to expect. It's a business move, really, and I don't really care about that. I'm just reading the script for the quality. It's like, is this a page turner? Do I want to know what happens next? Is it funny? And this thing checked all the boxes for me. I was like, this is a rad, exciting script. I know I'm going to love it. My boys are going to love it. And the character jumped out at me as something that I knew what to do. I wanted to play this character as very funny.
Yeah, I mean, you have talent here, the people you've worked with before, like Jake Kasdan, who had you as Paul McCartney, and Dewey Cox, which is incredibly underrated as well. That's the best soundtrack of.
Well, my fondest memory with Jake was a movie we did a long time ago, Orange County, and that was one of my early roles. That was like a big, funny, character for me, and I loved working with him. We had a good groove going in between takes. His notes were always really helpful and creative, and I just like his comedic mind. You know, he goes way back to the Judd Apatow days before the movie.
Geeks, Undeclared.
Freaks and Geeks, man. So he's like this juggernaut that I always jump at the opportunity. And this was a great one because he said, I'm doing Jumanji, would you read this? And I read this script he did a draft of, and as I was reading it, I was like, oh my God, my character's actually a 16-year-old girl. And I had been like working on this 16-year-old girl character for no reason for years, just because I thought it was funny, just with friends and stuff. Flirt with my friends and just be like a teenage girl that was really popular. I knew it. And I was like, you don't understand. I was born to play this part. I have this. I know what I'm going to do. So it was very exciting for me.
So, I mean, as you're saying, the industry is changing. You're going for a lot more familiar IP. Does the way you approach acting change? Does acting fulfill you in the same way that it did when you started out?
I mean, yeah, I don't approach it any differently. Storytelling, putting on a show, that's just in my blood. And I don't even really care what the venue is, what the delivery system is. If I'm doing a big major motion picture for $100 million budget, it feels the same as if I'm doing a $5 budget video on YouTube. It's always the same thing. You're just trying to figure out the science of telling a story, putting on a show. It's always the same high for me.
Do you find that you are more nostalgic yourself in how you consume music and movies, etc.?
I do feel like an old man sometimes with the new technologies, but I kind of like the new challenges and the new things. Like on this one, I started doing Instagram just because I was checking out Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Kevin Hart's
They go
style.
hard on
They go
Instagram.
hard, and they're like really good at it, man. They got massive followings, and I started feeling a little envious of their internet sauce. I was like, I can do that too. I just chose not to up until now. So I've been like working my Instagram, and I just approach it kind of like it's my own little TV show, you know? And it ends up like sort of taking over my whole existence. Now that's more important than anything.
And a quick last question. I mean, in approaching that teenage girl character,
Yeah.
it's kind of tricky. It's a tricky balance in
Why?
bringing on a female character, but also
What's
not
tricky
just
about
doing
it?
a parody of women or a parody of having a woman
Right.
trapped in a man's body. You got to kind of bring the comedy,
Oh,
but not have
right.
it be a parody as well.
I know what you mean. Everything's a delicate minefield nowadays. But there's nothing that just gets in the way of comedy if you're worried about stepping on toes. I don't really think about that. I just think about like what's real about it. If I was really a girl trapped in this body, what would that be? Just and let the chips fall where they may.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your
You
time.
talk to me after the movie comes out. Maybe I'll change my tune. But right now,
All right, we'll see how
that's my
Twitter's
story.
sexy, right?
Exactly. Thanks, man.
Yeah, great pleasure.
Good to meet you too.